The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Develop the habits of influential and successful people and be different. Covey believes that the natural law of sowing, cultivation, and reaping is always valid. Therefore, the seeds of growth, progress, and success are planted. They are cared for and gradually grow, eventually bearing fruit. Thus, in this book, he seeks for the reader to plant the 7 habits of success within themselves, and, by nurturing them, achieve success. Therefore, it can be said that the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People does not offer a shortcut to success. Rather, it focuses on deep and fundamental changes in the individual, that is, one's habits. These habits distinguish effective people from others. Why is it that while most people struggle with failure and lack of purpose, others seem to master the art of building successful and fulfilling lives? The answer is simple. Successful people influence others and the world around them by developing 7 key habits within themselves. For change, focus on your character, not your behaviors. In general, there are 2 paths to improving and changing your life: focusing on your behaviors, focusing on your character and habits. In the first path, to change your life, you must change your behaviors. For example, you may use techniques such as communication skills or time management to perform your actions more effectively. This approach is an attempt to take a shortcut toward success. For instance, this method includes situations such as: you seek to become wealthy without working hard, or you aim to achieve personal growth without undergoing real and fundamental inner changes. On the other hand, you can look deeper into the matter and strive for success by focusing on the fundamental habits and belief systems that shape your character and worldview. Naturally, this path takes longer. Covey believes that true growth in character cannot be achieved through shortcuts. To reach genuine effectiveness, no step can be skipped or ignored. Consider that for developing skills like playing tennis or the piano, you cannot skip any stage or take shortcuts. You must advance step by step and learn systematically. The same principle applies to achieving emotional development and personal growth. Example: if you wish to have a successful and happy relationship, merely practicing relationship techniques will not help much. Instead, you must become an optimistic and positive person. Likewise, if you want to be seen as a trustworthy person, working on your speaking skills alone will not be beneficial. You must work on becoming a more trustworthy individual. Revisit your personal paradigm. Working on your character means aligning your personal paradigms with universal principles. Question: what is a paradigm? In general, a paradigm is the lens through which we view the world. For an individual, it represents the mental and cultural framework used to analyze and interpret surrounding realities. A paradigm includes the fundamental principles that form one's character. For example, consider a person who turns to vows and prayers to heal an illness. This shows that, within that person's paradigm, God has the power to cure sickness, therefore they pray and make vows in God's name for healing. However, if their paradigm were that only doctors can treat diseases, they would never pray. Instead, they would simply visit a doctor. Thus, one's paradigm defines how they perceive the world. The habits formed in our minds and the behaviors arising from them are directly influenced by the paradigms etched within us. You must become aware of your mental paradigms. If you want to overcome deep-rooted habits such as procrastination, egocentrism, or irritability, you must first identify the fundamental principles that created them. Likewise, if you truly want to be effective, aligning your personal paradigms with greater and more essential values, such as justice, honesty, and integrity, will be extremely beneficial. Since most people believe in these principles, they can be regarded as natural and enduring laws that serve as benchmarks for measuring our personal values. All human behaviors can be evaluated according to these fundamental and universal principles. The more capable we are aligning our actions with these values, the more effectively we can integrate ourselves with the world around us. Habit 1: Sharpen the Saw, Self-Renewal. If you spend the entire day cutting down a tree and never find time to sharpen your saw, it means there is a fundamental problem somewhere in your approach. To be truly effective, it is vital to take care of your essential resources. These resources are your own strength and energy, which form the greatest assets of your life. Therefore, they must be continually renewed and improved. Example, to maintain physical fitness, you must exercise regularly, eat properly, and avoid unnecessary stress. For your mental well-being, you should read good books whenever possible. Likewise, to be an effective manager, you must continuously update your managerial knowledge. Maintaining lasting social and emotional health follows the same principle. You need to build as many positive social relationships as possible and never neglect your social needs. Furthermore, spiritual health makes a significant contribution to sustaining your overall effectiveness. Spiritual health may include activities such as prayer or meditation. Note: take intentional time to rest and recharge. Many people claim they can never find time to rest. However, taking time off can provide great long-term benefits and ensure your well-being. Therefore, you must give serious attention to self-renewal. Habit 2. Be proactive and take control of your life. Within each of us lies a need that drives us to influence the world around us. In other words, to be proactive human beings. This need is what distinguishes us from animals. An animal is programmed to produce a fixed reaction in response to any external stimulus. In contrast, human beings program themselves. We possess the ability to think and reflect before reacting to a stimulus. We can observe ourselves and our behavior from the outside. This ability allows us to choose how we respond to external influences. That is what it means to be proactive. Example: a powerful example of proactive behavior is Viktor Frankl. He spent years in Nazi concentration camps, yet he never allowed the guards to take control of his emotions. He always remained proactive, maintaining control over his destiny through foresight and inner strength. After his release, he became a distinguished psychologist and achieved great success in his field. Most people, by contrast, are reactive rather than proactive. Reactive individuals respond directly to external conditions. Their moods and behaviors are strongly dependent on what happens around them. For instance, they may only feel good when the weather is pleasant. Proactive people, however, are driven by their inner values and take full responsibility for their lives. Their personal decisions, not external circumstances, determine their behavior. They create their own weather. You can clearly distinguish proactive from reactive people by the way they speak. Reactive individuals who blame external factors for their fate. It wasn't my fault, or I had no control over it. Proactive individuals who take responsibility for their destiny and know that today's situation is the result of yesterday's choices. I decided to, or let's try to find a solution to this problem. Habit 3. Begin with the end in mind. To achieve your goals, you must clearly visualize the result before taking any action. Every activity is essentially carried out twice, first in the mind when you imagine it, and second in reality when you execute it. The clearer and more realistic this mental image is, the more effectively you will perform the task, leading to better results. Your mental picture should be as vivid and continuous as possible, an image that precisely represents what you want to achieve. You must visualize how to aim the bow and arrow in order to hit the center of the target accurately. Example: such mental projection can be applied to all kinds of situations. Professional athletes mentally visualize the entire competition, from start to finish, as if they were crossing the finish line first. The same principle applies to businesses. First, create a clear mental image of what you want to accomplish in your company, then turn that image into a firm operational plan. As the saying goes, it's better to spend time planning and visualizing your task than to rush into it thoughtlessly. Another crucial point is that if you want to achieve something meaningful, you must have long-term goals and a clear mission statement in mind. Many people exert tremendous effort toward meaningless goals. They focus on appearing efficient rather than being effective. Efficiency means accomplishing the most in the least time, but it's pointless if you don't know why you are doing something. Not knowing what truly matters and what purpose drives your effort is like climbing a ladder that's leaning against the wrong wall. You need to find long-term goals to guide your actions in the right direction. Question: how should you define your long-term goals? You can do this by asking yourself questions related to our own funeral. What would I want people to say about me at my funeral? How do I want to be remembered? For what would I want to be known and appreciated? Once you understand your major long-term goals, you can align them with everything you do. That's why writing a personal mission statement is so valuable. In this statement, you should record your core beliefs, simple principles, and the greater purposes you pursue in life. Such a standard serves as a firm compass against which everything can be measured. Having it gives you direction and a sense of inner security. Therefore, you must always keep two things in mind. 1. Always maintain awareness of your long-term goals so you can align your activities accordingly. This helps you stay focused and ensures you're always aiming at the right target. 2. Continuously form a mental image of what you intend to accomplish. This practice greatly reduces the chances of error in anything you do. Habit 4. To be effective, do the most important things first. Always keep this simple principle in mind: first things first. First things first means proper prioritization, starting with what truly matters most, while setting aside less important tasks to handle at a more appropriate time. Question: which tasks are more important? The most important tasks are those that bring you closer to your ultimate goals. The ones written in your mission statement and aligned with your values and principles. To dedicate your time to these vital responsibilities, you must learn when to say yes and when to say no. If someone asks you to do something that does not align with your long-term goals, you must be able to decline, even if you strongly feel like saying yes. Therefore, important tasks are not the countless small daily activities that fill your schedule. Instead, they are the significant duties and projects that move you toward your long-term vision. These tasks may not feel urgent, but it is crucial that you make time to accomplish them. Habit 5. Think win-win. Let's clarify the win-win mindset with a simple example. Imagine you and another person share a cake. If you adopt a win-lose approach, you'll try to take the entire cake for yourself, leaving nothing for the other. If that person also thinks win-lose, both of you may end up fighting, and the cake may be ruined for both. Thus, the win-lose mentality often leads to a lose-lose outcome. But if both of you think in a win-win way, each gets a fair portion and your relationship remains positive. Most people operate from the win-lose paradigm. They see life as a competition, others as rivals, and success as taking the biggest piece of the pie. However, not every situation in life must be competitive. In most cases, there is enough cake for everyone. A far better approach is for all parties to look for mutually beneficial solutions, a win-win outcome. A win-win mindset always seeks solutions that respect the preferences and needs of everyone involved. Achieving it requires a shift in thinking, from "I must get my share of the cake" to "there's enough cake for everyone." The greatest advantage of this mindset lies in building stable, positive relationships and mutual trust. Relationships where every side benefits. You should understand that building long-term relationships is like investing in an emotional bank account. Every relationship you have functions like such a bank account. The more deposits you make, the stronger the trust and goodwill between you and the other person. What counts as a deposit? Finding a win-win solution in an agreement, keeping promises you've made, showing empathy and genuine attention. And what counts as a withdrawal? Acting selfishly in a negotiation, breaking previous commitments, listening carelessly or dismissively. When your emotional balance is high, it's essential to also make the effort to understand the other person's mission statement, their priorities and goals, and invest time in them. Doing so preserves and strengthens your long-term relationships. Habit 6. To be truly effective, first, seek to understand, then to be understood. Would you trust a doctor who diagnoses you instantly, without listening carefully or performing a proper examination, or an optician who hands you their own glasses, insisting that since they see well through them, you should too? Although we recognize how unreasonable this behavior is, we often do the same thing in everyday conversations. Most of us don't actually listen to others. Instead, while they're talking, we're silently preparing our own response, eager to offer advice or judgment without deeply grasping their situation. It's as if we try to prescribe a treatment before fully understanding the patient. Such advice rarely works, because people only accept others' judgments when they're sure the other person truly understands them. Empathic listening means active listening. It involves restating what the other person has said in your own words, reflecting their emotions, and helping them clarify their own thoughts. Developing this ability requires replacing the mindset of "I listen in order to reply" with "I listen in order to understand." At first, mastering this skill may be time-consuming and demanding, but over time it becomes one of the most rewarding abilities you can develop. Once you learn to listen with genuine empathy, you'll find that many people will open up to you, sharing their secrets, feelings, and concerns. They will value your perspective and advice far more, simply because you were the kind of listener they had long been searching for. Habit 7. Work with openness and respect to create synergy. Question: what is synergy? When we say synergy has been created, we mean that several resources or capacities have come together to form something new, something greater than the mere sum of those parts. Example: imagine two boys. One is 150 centimeters tall, the other 160. Individually, neither can reach the apples on a tall tree. Their separate efforts yield zero results. But if they cooperate, one standing on the other's shoulders, they can pick fruit from a tree over 2 meters tall. That's the clearest example of synergy, cooperation that produces a result beyond individual potential. Creating synergy with others means valuing differences and being open and transparent with one another. Each of us views the world through our own lens and possesses unique abilities. By combining these differences, we can cover one another's weaknesses and achieve far greater outcomes. To develop this habit, approach every interaction as an adventure, welcoming diverse perspectives and staying open to new results. This requires trust that each person will fulfill their role, and faith that the result of teamwork will always surpass what any individual could achieve alone. When synergy emerges, it means that everyone truly listens, steps into each other's perspective, and draws upon collective participation to create something richer and better than before. Such a collaborative, trusting environment can only form when all members are mature, respectful, and considerate of one another. Only then will the final outcome be something truly greater than the sum of its parts. Final words. True effectiveness means having absolute clarity about your desired goals and being proactive in pursuing them. If you create synergy with others along the way, your results will multiply. At the same time, it is essential to invest in lasting relationships and maintain a balanced life. Now, let's revisit the key questions posed at the beginning of this summary and offer refined answers to each. Question 1. How can you create lasting change within yourself and remain active over the long term? Focus on transforming your character, not merely your behavior. Character development comes from aligning your personal paradigms with universal, timeless principles. If you wish to keep cutting effectively, you must continuously sharpen the saw. Question 2. How can you achieve great things and shape the world around you through your influence? Be proactive rather than reactive. Before beginning any endeavor, visualize its end. Clarify your long-term goals and define your personal mission statement. Envision the outcome of every task clearly and vividly before taking action. To maximize your impact, always do the most important things first, then handle the less important ones. Question 3. How can you collaborate and integrate successfully with others? Adopt a win-win mindset so that you achieve your goals while preserving strong relationships. Building stable relationships is like investing in emotional bank accounts. Every act of trust, empathy, and reliability is a valuable deposit. To truly influence others, first seek to understand and then seek to be understood. Work with openness, sincerity, and respect to build synergy, creating together what none could accomplish alone. In essence, effectiveness is a life of balanced renewal, grounded in clear goals, proactive energy, meaningful priorities, deep empathy, mutual respect, and synergy. This is the path to true personal and interpersonal mastery.